Hi, my name is Joe, and I'm a PhD student at Yale in environmental engineering. My research focuses on trying to understand emerging sources of air pollution in cities. So instead of just looking at traffic and vehicles, we want to understand what are other things that might be polluting our air. So Jaden at McAuliffe asked what was the best experiment that I ever did. And so as a PhD student, I get to go out to the field sometimes and kind of study different types of air pollution. And so what my lab let me do is they sent me to Pittsburgh and Baltimore, which are two semi-large cities in the US. And I got to ride in this kind of big van that kind of looks like the Amazon delivery vans, but was white and was filled with scientific instruments. And so kind of like you guys did to try to see where you could see air pollution in your house, we kind of drove around and looked for restaurants that had kind of smoke coming out of them. And what we wanted to do is if we saw smoke coming out of the restaurant, we'd try to park really close to that exhaust, and we wanted to sample that air. So we could understand what was in that air pollution versus what was in normal city air. So we'd also park random places like parks, and we even parked in a cemetery a little, which felt a little weird. And we also took air samples there. And then back in lab, I would compare kind of what was in each air pollution sample to understand how they were different.
My name is Allie. I am currently living in California, and I just got my master's in environmental engineering. I studied stormwater and green infrastructure there at Northwestern, and I am currently looking for a job, but I have been working in politics to try to get politicians to pass good environmental laws. So Yilma asked, what are some projects that are helping the environment? And Hillary asked, do I help the environment by planting plants? Both Yilma and Hillary are from McCutcheon. And I wanted to answer these two questions together because my answer kind of goes together. So one thing that helps the environment is something called green infrastructure, which I think you've talked about a little bit. But green infrastructure is really great for collecting stormwater that might be polluted. And so the plants that you plant there help clean out the pollutants from that stormwater. And so by planting some plants in some important areas in your city, you can actually help the environment.
Okay, hi everybody, my name is Navina. I'm in Berkeley, California, so it's by San Francisco in the Bay Area, and I am an environmental engineer. I work for a company called Hydroscience Engineers, and we do a lot of wastewater, water recycling, and water resources. Okay, Daniel at Delaforce asked, what is the hardest part of your job? And that's a really good question. I love so many aspects of my job, and the main reason why I did environmental engineering is because I want to help the planet. I think the hardest part of my job is that every tiny impact that you make, you don't always see on a grander scale. So I'm working towards making the earth a better place to live, a more sustainable place, cleaner. A lot of what I do is very small in that whole bigger project. So I kind of have to keep reminding myself that every little action makes a huge impact, especially when it comes to environmental engineering.
Hi everyone, I'm Nicole and I'm currently working in Oakland, California. I'm working for a company called Langen Engineering. Kimberly at McAuliffe asked, do you prefer to work outside or indoors? That's a really great question. I think that I personally prefer to work outdoors. I love working with my hands. I love problem solving. I love just being outside in general. Obviously, at times as an engineer, we do work inside, but I wholeheartedly enjoy the times when I get to work outside. And for an environmental engineer in the beginning, that is a large part of your job. So I would say a great proportion of your time is spent outside, and I love it because I'm looking at taking water samples and soil samples and really being part of the outdoors and enjoying it. So it is a great part of